Welcome back, everyone. Grab your popcorn because today's story is packed with shocking twists, emotional moments, and secrets that change everything. Let's jump right in. I am telling you right now, my jaw is still firmly on the floor after realizing what Jack Brennan, played by the incredibly intense Chris L. McKenna, is about to do to Willow Kane. We are looking at the mother of all betrayals. And frankly, as a fan who has watched the power dynamics of Port Charles shift for decades, it is about time somebody flipped the script on that woman. Jack Brennan is gearing up to turn the tables and slap the cuffs on Willow, played with chilling perfection by Caitlin McMullen, and the sheer poetic justice of it all has me pacing the room. He knows everything. He knows the whole filthy, twisted truth about her unholy, treasonous alliance with the international terrorist Jen Sidwell, brought to sinister life by Carlo Rota. But the absolute kicker, the detail that had me screaming at my television screen, is how Jack knows exactly how Willow faked Drew Kane's stroke. He knows because Jack himself was a victim of the exact same chemical warfare. Jack was injected with that terrifying paralytic drug. Just wrap your head around that for a second. The man experienced the sheer terror of being frozen in his own body, and now he is holding the smoking gun that is going to blow Willow's entire pristine, saintly facade straight to kingdom come. He is the one person who can definitively prove that Drew did not have a natural medical emergency, but was instead the victim of a calculated, cold-blooded assassination attempt by his own wife. Let us just stop and talk about the sheer, unadulterated cruelty of what Willow has done to Drew Kane, played by Cameron Matheson. I have watched a lot of villains scheme, plot, and murder in Port Charles over the years, from the Cassadines to the Jeromes, but paralyzing your own husband, trapping him in his own body so he looks like he had a massive, debilitating stroke, that takes a special, chilling kind of ruthlessness that we rarely see. Jack has realized, and I am right there with him, that Willow possesses a level of cold-blooded savagery that we never saw coming when she first arrived as a sweet schoolteacher. She subjected Drew to the ultimate humiliation and agony. We are talking about a grown, vibrant, powerful man reduced to absolute nothingness. He needs constant sponge baths. He has to have his diapers changed like a helpless infant, and he is being fed through an IV line, all while his brain is completely active, aware, and screaming inside a frozen shell. It is psychological torture of the highest, most depraved order. Yes, we all know Drew has his own dirty laundry with that massive embezzlement scandal. That was a sloppy political game, and he absolutely deserves to face the music and stand trial for his financial crimes. But let us be brutally honest here. His white-collar financial crimes are an absolute joke, a mere drop in the bucket compared to the monstrous, inhumane torture Willow has inflicted upon him. And the absolute madness does not stop at domestic abuse and chemical warfare. Oh no, Willow Kane is not just a treacherous, murderous wife. She is a United States Congresswoman, completely bought and paid for by Jen Sidwell. How in the world did this happen? She has been using her immense political power to threaten the WSB's budget. She literally blackmailed Jack Brennan by threatening to slash the funding of the United States World Security Bureau, effectively cutting off their financial lifeblood and threatening to bankrupt the entire agency. She is playing God with international security, compromising global safety, just to keep her dirty secrets buried and her pockets lined. It is a level of megalomania that is truly terrifying to witness. As if Willow's reign of terror was not enough to make my blood boil, we have to talk about the absolute snake that is Ross Cullum, played by Andrew Hawkes. Cullum did not just demote Brennan, he completely usurped the man's office, kicked him to the curb, and climbed right into bed with Jen Sidwell. The corruption runs so deep in the WSB right now, it is sickening to watch. Cullum is actively colluding with a known international terrorist, resorting to kidnapping, extortion, and outright treason. Brennan has been fighting a desperate two-front war, trying to take down a corrupt congresswoman on one side and battling the rot within his own agency on the other. Now, let us pivot to the absolute nightmare unfolding with the hostages, because this is where the story turns into a full-blown terrifying espionage thriller that feels like a classic James Bond movie. Britt Westbourne, the brilliant Kelly Thibault, is being mercilessly blackmailed, forced into a desperate corner to secure experimental, life-saving trial drugs. The desperation in Britt's eyes is palpable, and knowing she is being manipulated by these monsters is heartbreaking. But the real earth-shattering tragedy here is what they have done to Dr. Liesel Obrecht, played by the legendary Kathleen Gotti. Liesel has been violently kidnapped and forced to take Britt's place in the most dangerous scientific endeavor imaginable. And what is she being forced to complete? The late, great, and utterly terrifying Caesar Faison's final apocalyptic project, a cold fusion weapon. Anders Hove's legacy as Faison continues to haunt the show from beyond the grave. I cannot even begin to tell you how much this terrifies me for the future of Port Charles and the world. This cold fusion technology is unimaginably dangerous. We are talking about a weapon capable of literally destroying the earth. And poor Liesel, a woman who has already suffered so much loss and trauma, is being forced to be the architect of this global destruction. We also absolutely cannot forget about Jocelyn Jacks. Eden McCoy has been playing the absolute terror of the situation brilliantly. Poor Jocelyn is still being held captive, locked away as a pawn in this massive, high-stakes game of international terrorism and local political corruption. The anxiety I feel for her safety is off the charts. Sidwell and his goons have her, and every second she remains in their clutches is a ticking time bomb. This ties everything back to the unholy alliance between Sidwell, Cullum, and Willow. The fact that a U.S. Congresswoman is turning a blind eye, or worse, actively facilitating the captivity of a young woman from her own hometown, just proves that Willow's soul is completely pitch black. But wait, because we have to rewind and look at the trail of psychological destruction. Willow left right here in Port Charles before she even got to the national stage. After she and Michael Corinthos, played by Rory Gibson, finally split up, Willow completely lost her mind. She broke into the Quartermain mansion multiple times. She wasn't just trespassing, she was launching a full-scale psychological warfare campaign. She targeted Sasha Corbin, played by Sophia Matson, ruthlessly gaslighting her, manipulating her mind, and driving her to the brink of absolute paranoia. Sasha became so terrified, so deeply insecure and fearful that her and Michael's beautiful daughter, Daisy Gilmore, played by the adorable twins Brendan and Evelyn Bimeford, was going to be kidnapped or face some horrific fate that she literally fled the country. Sasha packed up and ran all the way to France to live with her parents just to escape Willow's terrifying, suffocating obsession. Willow drove a traumatized mother and an innocent child out of the country through sheer, calculated terror. It completely baffles me how Tracy Quartermain, played by the iconic Jane Elliott, thinks she actually understands Willow. Tracy is the fierce, sharp-as-a-tack matriarch who usually spots a gold digger or a psychopath from a mile away, yet she is completely blind to the monster living in her orbit. But you know who isn't blind? Jack Brennan. Jack has the highly trained eye of a seasoned WSB spy. He sees right through Willow's sweet, soft-spoken, doe-eyed act. His espionage background gives him the unique ability to profile a sociopath, and he has Willow pegged perfectly. And let's talk about how Jack got all this juicy, damning information. It is all thanks to his ongoing, sizzling connection with Carly Spencer, played by Laura Wright. Jack and Carly have been circling each other, sharing secrets in the shadows, and Carly has been telling him everything. She fed Jack so much critical background information about Willow's past, her break-ins at the Quartermain mansion, and her terrifying behavior. Carly has always known there was something deeply wrong with Willow, but even she couldn't have predicted this level of villainy. Together, Jack and Carly are assembling the puzzle pieces, building an airtight case that is going to bring the hammer of justice down. The most heartbreaking part of this entire saga, though, has to be Nina Reeves, played by Cynthia Watros. Jack actually took the time to sit down and warn Nina about her own flesh and blood. He laid out the terrifying truth about Willow, And the absolute tragedy is that Nina had to agree with him. Nina had to look at the cold, hard facts and admit that Willow cannot be trusted. It breaks my heart to see a mother realize that her child is a monster. Nina knows firsthand what it is like to be manipulated by a cruel mother. Just look at what Madeline Reeves, played by Donna Mills, did to her. But Nina has realized that Willow is far more cunning, far more insidious, and far more dangerous than Nina or Madeline ever were on their absolute worst days. So, what happens next? I am predicting an absolute explosion that will rock General Hospital to its very core. When Jack finally makes his move and arrests Willow, the fallout will be catastrophic. Michael is going to lose his mind realizing what his ex has become. But more importantly, what happens to Drew? If Britt and Liesel can somehow synthesize a cure, a hostage nightmare, Drew is going to wake up. And when he does, the wrath he unleashes on Willow will be of biblical proportions. I firmly believe Jack Brennan will be reinstated as the head of the WSB once Cullum and Sidwell are exposed. We are witnessing the climax of one of the greatest, darkest storylines in soap history, and I cannot wait to see Willow Kane's spectacular downfall.